Welcome to Imola for round 2 of the 16-race World Championship Series, the San Marino Grand Prix, the first to be held in Europe. Now, the first Grand Prix of the year was 3 weeks ago in Brazil, and that's where world champion Alain Prost swept to victory to gain 9 invaluable World Championship points in his attempt to become world champion for the 3rd successive year. Alain Prost, more than anyone, is aware of the fact that the major problem of this demanding Imola circuit is fuel consumption.
Prost is slowed right down, and Prost is out of fuel. So Prost is, you see him waggling the car. That is to try and shake some petrol into the thing. He's within sight of the line. If he can just limp, he'll make it.
This, then, is the most important instrument in the cockpit, the fuel readout gauge. Now for Pit Bits, a new item in which we will be regularly updating you with all the news, gossip and rumours of Grand Prix racing. And the news from Imola is dramatic indeed. In the first timed practice, Nelson Piquet went out and made the fastest time, only shortly afterwards to have an absolutely colossal crash at over 200 miles an hour on the Tosa Bend. Amazingly, he got out of the car. He was taken to hospital for observation overnight. He came back to the circuit yesterday and looked very fit and cheerful and was ready to race.
What I remember, the car went complete sideways. And after that, I tried to close my eyes. I feel I don't have any problem. I have a little problem with my ankle, my left ankle, but I think I can manage this for the race tomorrow.
But the official view from Professor Sid Watkins, the medical advisor to the sports governing body, said no drive for Piquet. On the tyre front, it's been all action too, because yesterday Goodyear, the sole supplier to Grand Prix racing, dramatically withdrew all the tyres that they had originally issued and replaced them with new ones.
This was because, Murray, yesterday during practice and qualifying, our engineers identified a situation developing in the tyre which they were not happy with. We felt it would have been wrong to go ahead, and the responsible thing for Goodyear to do was to bring new tyres, which we had in Wolverhampton, fortunately.
There's good news from the Tyrrell team. The news that Jonathan Palmer has signed a full-year contract to drive for them. And there's very good news for the French Ligier team. They had lost their Italian Alfa Romeo engines, but after a frantic scramble, they've been able to replace them with Megatron BMW motors. And finally, at Imola, there are 2 completely new cars in the 3.5-litre category. The new Lola, driven by Frenchman Philippe Alliot, and the new March, driven by Italian Ivan Capelli. So, in pole position, Ayrton Senna in the Lotus Honda, and just behind him, second on the grid, Nigel Mansell in the Williams Honda. Third on the grid, Alain Prost. Then Theo Fabi in the Benetton Ford. Fifth on the grid is Gerhard Berger, his first drive for Ferrari in Italy. In sixth position, Michele Alboreto, Berger's teammate. Seventh is Riccardo Patrese. Eighth is Stefan Johansson. In ninth place, Eddie Cheever in the Arrows Megatron. And in 10th position, Derek Warwick in the second Arrows. Martin Brundle is in 15th place on the grid in the Zack Speed. And Jonathan Palmer is 24th on the grid in the Tyrrell Ford. You look at the completion of the second parade lap, because after the first parade lap for the San Marino Grand Prix, when they lined up on the start, a number of drivers stopped their engines and the start was aborted before it even happened. So now here is Senna in the first car with active suspension in the history of Grand Prix racing to be in pole position, leading up the grid, with Nigel Mansell forming up behind him, Prost in third place and Theo Fabi in fourth position. And non-starters are Nelson Piquet after his Friday crash, and René Arnoux with suspension problems in the warm-up this morning.
And the forecast this weekend has been rain, but there's been no sign of it up till now. But the weather looks slightly threatening.
And the race is now going to be over 59 laps. And the fuel consumption problem is going to be even greater. A good, clean, fighting start, and it is Senna leading Mansell, followed by Prost, and the two Ferraris with Alboreto just nosing ahead of his teammate Gerhard Berger. Senna, Mansell, Prost as they come up towards the 200 miles an hour stretch, which leads to the Rettifilio and then to the second gear, 95 miles an hour left-hander at Tosa, just before which Nelson Piquet went off in his crash. And it's Senna, followed by Mansell. Prost is third. Alboreto is fourth. Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari is in fifth position. They stream round now and up from the Tosa. It is an uphill section towards the Piratella, then down to the Acqua Minerale, which is where they are now. Now they go up through third, fourth and fifth gears, all of them through the Acqua Minerale, and Mansell is crowding all over Ayrton Senna's gearbox, trying to hassle him for the lead on the first out of 59 laps, as you see Boutsen followed by Brundle.
Yes, Mansell will be very keen to get past Senna early in the race. Senna was not very happy with his car in race trim today. I think they're still, of course, in relatively early stages of development of this active suspension system that they've got. And Mansell will be keen to get past him and use Senna as maybe a little bit of a hold-up, a buffer for Prost. So this is where Mansell will be looking to do it, to get a slipstream. And Nigel may well have hit his boots button there. And through he goes to take the lead.
Mansell, Senna, Prost third, then Alboreto fourth, Berger fifth, there's Patrese in sixth position, followed by Farby, then Johansson, and Mansell now setting out to build a cushion. He'll have to be watching his fuel counter very carefully, but the Honda engine is extremely fuel efficient. It's probably the best of the turbo engines. There's Nelson Piquet doing a bit of commentating in the top left corner of your screen, probably ruining, I'm sure, the fact that he's not in the race, and a bit worried about the fact that his teammate is leading. Senna second, Prost third, then Alboreto and Berger. Sixth place is Patrese, seventh is Farby, eighth is Johansson, Warwick in ninth, and has got Thierry Boutsen right behind him in 10th position, and Prost goes through to take Senna. This is highly significant. Don't forget that Prost has won this race for the last 3 years, although only 2 of them were allowed to count. And he loves the Imola circuit, as he might well do. And as far as British drivers are concerned, we have Nigel Mansell in the lead. Derek Warwick is in 9th position. Martin Brundle is in 12th place. And Jonathan Palmer in the 3.5-litre Tyrrell is in 20th position.
And Prost has put up the fastest lap of the race so far. And looks to be getting very much into his stride. So can Mansell respond? He'll be getting the signals that Prost has started to close slightly.
Prost's fastest lap so far of 1 minute 31.7 compares with the lap record by Nelson Piquet, 1:28.6. And there in the pits, one of the Minardis, it's Nannini's car, and it's getting cooler, I can tell you that. Ginzani, into the pits comes Nakajima, as you look at Senna, Alboreto, Berger, still third, fourth, fifth, Patrese there, still sixth. The leading 3.5-litre car is Jonathan Palmer in the Tyrrell, and there's the race leader, and that is Alain Prost, now 2.7 seconds behind Mansell. And Senna is staving off the Ferrari. And Alboreto goes through to take Ayrton Senna. Now we can expect to see him pull away. It's going to be the familiar story too of it's one thing up. It's another getting past, and once you have, you can whistle away. Look at the crowd. They love this.
It'll be interesting to see how quickly Berger can deal with Senna.
That was De Cesaris touring in.
Looks like Berger's got right alongside Ayrton Senna. And in fact, Berger got in front too soon. And here we see a spin that looks like De Cesaris, and that would be the reason probably for his limping in. So not an unfamiliar sight, seeing De Cesaris spinning. And Berger has dropped right back from Ayrton Senna. Alboreto just disposing of the lap Nakajima, and that is one of the cars. That's Alain Prost, is it? Going slowly.
Yes, it is Alain Prost stopping on this, the 15th lap of the San Marino Grand Prix, and that considerably enhances, and the crowd gives a roar of approval, as they do in Italy, when anything adverse happens to Alain Prost. The popular Frenchman everywhere else but Italy does not go down well here, by virtue, I suspect, of the fact that he's done so well, winning for the last 3 years. And Alain Prost on lap 15 is out of the race, out of the chance of earning more World Championship points to add to the 9 he got in Brazil. Well, sometime or other, I suppose his run of success here had to finish, and this was the day it has happened. Now then, Nigel Mansell on lap 15 leads the San Marino Grand Prix. Second place, Michele Alboreto. Third place, Ayrton Senna, being challenged by fourth place man Gerhard Berger. Fifth now is Patrese, and you look again at the change in position there as Patrese goes up, and now Patrese in the Brabham BMW has really got the bit between his teeth. He is ahead of Berger. Correction then on the race order. Definitely. Nigel Mansell now on his 16th lap in the lead from Michele Alboreto second, Ayrton Senna in third position, then Patrese fourth, Berger fifth, Johansson, and look at this.
Yes, Johansson moves up past Berger. Now Berger dropped back fairly dramatically, and I think he is in some sort of trouble. So Johansson trying to take up the cudgels from the McLaren team now that Prost is out. So, Mansell leads, Alboreto just under 10 seconds behind him. Senna in third place, dropping back a little bit from Alboreto, and Patrese now moving up to take up the cudgels to try to see if he can catch Ayrton Senna.
Lap 18 for the leader. At the end of lap 17, Gerhard Berger into the pits, and I just look out of the window and see what's happening. Well, there's a lot of work on the car. There are no tyres being... There you see it for yourself. You can see that it's not on the jack. It looks as though there is some mortal mechanical problem and that the car is going to be wheeled out of the race.
We're hoping for tremendous things for Nigel Mansell this year. He proved last year that he's certainly well capable of delivering. And he has steadied the gap. In fact, is now increasing it very slightly over Alboreto, who we see coming into the picture now. So Mansell controlling the race at the front, and that is Ivan Capelli, who's pulling in trouble in the brand new Leighton House March. The car was only finished, well, in the paddock here. They were still building it when they got here, and it seemed to work reasonably well for something that was straight out of the box.
Riccardo Patrese, number 7 in the Brabham BMW, through the Aqua Minerale, second gear, up into third, fourth and fifth gear, 180 miles an hour towards the Variante Alta at the top. It's a right and left chicane. Confirmation of the positions, 5 Mansell in the lead, 27 Alboreto second, 12, Senna in third place. The car you're looking at now, 7, Patrese in fourth place, followed by 2, the red and white McLaren of Johansson in fifth position. Boutsen is 7 seconds in sixth place behind Johansson that you see go round the corner into the pits. Now Mansell into the pits. Stopwatch. Go. This is lap 23 that Mansell is on into. This is going to be a steering pit stop. Magnificent. 8.64 seconds for Nigel Mansell to change his tyres and wheels on lap 22. Now a Ferrari leads in Italy, and the Italian crowd are really going to go bananas when they see this. And Mansell is up with Stefan Johansson there. Johansson in fourth position. And Mansell in fifth place, with Alboreto leading the San Marino Grand Prix on lap 23 in the Ferrari, followed by Senna Patrese.
There is Mansell, and he's not very far away at all from the leader. So Nigel Mansell shot past Stefan Johansson.
Nigel Mansell is now 5.65 seconds behind Senna. Into the pit comes Stefan Johansson now. Lap 24. Stefan Johansson in to change his tyres. He was in fourth position at the time. So fifth position, my apologies. So now it's still Michele Alboreto leading within his wheel tracks. The yellow Lotus Honda with the active suspension of Ayrton Senna. Nigel Mansell's fastest lap there of 1 minute 30 compares with the lap record of Nelson Piquet last year, 1 minute 28.6.
Yes, and that's a good bit quicker than anybody else has gone, and that shows what a nice fresh set of tyres can do for you. They're at their best when they're new, and then the performance slowly but steadily deteriorates. And Senna starting to press Alboreto for the lead, but it is a little bit academic at the moment, because certainly we're expecting Alboreto to come in for tyres pretty soon, and I would think Senna, Senna declared before the race that he wanted to make a late tyre stop, but of course he'll be able to. And there, in goes Alboreto, so Senna left clear in the lead, but Nigel Mansell is coming up fast.
Now, here's the previous race leader, Michele Alboreto. Let's see how his hard stop time compares with 8.64 seconds, which was Nigel Mansell's. It's slower already, and he's lost 2 seconds with a time of 10 seconds. And Boutsen is into the pits, and you look at Mansell ahead of Patrese now. Senna is now 4.4 seconds ahead as he comes into the pits, and Nigel Mansell retakes the lead. The fastest time we've had for a pit stop, Nigel Mansell, 8.64 seconds. The Lotus team are usually extremely good, and look at that, 7.54 seconds, magnificent. I think that is the fastest pit stop we have ever had. One is certainly the quickest I can remember, and Nigel Mansell now leads. Alliot out of the race. Philippe Alliot in the Lola on lap 33 retires from the San Marino Grand Prix, or is he trying to... Oh no, he's not, he's trying to drive out again. And a big spin there from the AGS of Pascal Fabre, and that's what caused Alliot's problem. You can see he had to take avoiding action at the Rivazza, as Fabre, who had caused all the problems in the 3.5-litre DFZ powered AGS car, went on. And the race order now on lap 33 in this 59-lap San Marino Grand Prix shows Nigel Mansell now inching away from Patrese, who is 2.9 seconds behind. Senna and Alboreto third and fourth, Johansson fifth, and Warwick sixth.
I'm sure that this is a mistake, really, a tactical error by the Brabham team and Riccardo Patrese between them to not have come in yet. remember that one's got quite a wide choice of when one can stop the tyres in this race, but he's not getting the best use of his second set of tyres because he's gone not just more than half distance in the race, but in effect more than that, because remember the car is a lot heavier in the first half of the race than it is for the second half.
Luton is now in 6th position, ahead of Derek Warwick, who is therefore out of the point.
Alboreto is now having a look. We're back to where we were quite early in this race before pit stops. Alboreto trying to find a way down Ayrton Senna, battling for third place, but this could well become second place when Patrese goes for tyres.
Which he's not only not showing the slightest sign of doing, but the Brabham team aren't showing the slightest sign of getting ready to get him in, because I've just looked out of the window.
Well, it could be that they've out-fumbled everybody and are being very clever and trying to go the whole race on one set, and that, from a tyre wear problem, should be possible. And if they do that, if they can manage that, then Patrese looks set to possibly hang on to that second place. He'll probably struggle if he does go to in the closing laps with grip, as the tyres get a bit too tired. But it'll be interesting to see if that is what, in fact, the Brabham team are up to.
And I can only say, there he comes into the pit, just to prove us wrong. And he will now lose not only second place but third place. Indeed, Senna goes past, and so does the Ferrari. And that I didn't time Patrese stop, but that looked like an incredibly quick one to me. But meantime, Patrese is in 4th position as he leaves the pit. And now on lap 38 out of 59, Nigel Mansell leads by 16 seconds. Ayrton Senna second. Alboreto third. There he is, right behind the Lotus. Patrese still in 4th position, ahead of Johansson by 5 seconds. Meantime, Jonathan Palmer is still leading the 3.5-litre race, 1 lap behind the race leaders, and that is De Cesaris off the course again and out of the race now. Andrea De Crasheris, as he's known in Grand Prix circles.
And there goes the battle, the 4th and 5th right behind, and Johansson trying to get down the inside, but Patrese's been shutting the door pretty effectively there for a couple of laps now.
Senna second, Alboreto third, Patrese in 4th place, Johansson in 5th place, and very little between them. There's Patrese really driving a magnificent race, and the John Baldwin, David North, Sergio Ridland, and up into second place goes Michele Alboreto by magnificently out-fumbling Senna, and Senna put off his line, allows Patrese to close right up behind him, and the crowd roars. Look at this replay.
Yes, and he caught Senna napping there. That's a lot like Ayrton Senna, and very good piece of driving indeed by Michele Alboreto.
Patrese through. Incredible. 1.6 seconds between Alboreto and Patrese, and into the pit has come Johansson again and look at Patrese challenging now, and he goes past Alboreto. What a fantastic bit of driving. Patrese moves up from 4th to 2nd in about 400 yards, and Johansson is in the pits. Lap 46 now. Nigel Mansell has gone through to complete the lap. He's now 21 seconds ahead of Riccardo Patrese, with Alboreto on the right of your screen in 3rd position. In the yellow Lotus, Ayrton Senna from Brazil in 4th place. Thierry Boutsen is some 21 seconds in 5th place behind Senna, who is 4th. Ahead of his teammate Theo Fabi in 6th position. So both the Benettons are in the top 6 point-scoring places, which will be helpful to them in the Constructors' Championship. Derek Warwick in the Arrows Megatron is in 7th place. 8th, Johansson in the McLaren Tag. 9th, Cheever. Both Arrows in the top 9 places. 10th, Brundle in the Zakspeed. 11th, Cathy, still going in the Osella, which is not something that I expected at this stage of the race. 12th is Senna, 13th is Nakajima, 14th, 2 laps down. Jonathan Palmer leading the 3.5-litre race. His teammate Streff is 15th, Alio is 16th, Fabre in the AGS 5 laps down is 17th. And the fastest man on the course now is Teo Fabi, who has just gone round in 1 minute 29.8.
And Senna has managed to get back past Alboreto, so this race-long duel continues. He got close enough behind him as they got onto the straight to take the slingshot, and Riccardo Patrese is no longer getting away from them, so we could still see a three-way fight for second place.
With Boutsen in the inset in the pits, the gap between Patrese and Senna is down to 1.9 seconds. So Senna has taken half a second out of second place man Patrese's lead, and there he's right up with him now. There's the Brabham BMW. There goes Senna. Alboreto keeping a watching brief behind the yellow Lotus, and still Nigel Mansell out on his own, 20 seconds ahead of this battle, and Johansson now the fastest man on the course.
And Riccardo Patrese in trouble. Patrese slowed right down. It looked very much as if his engine had cut out, so it looks as if his tremendous afternoon's work is coming to a premature end.
Oh, and what bitter luck. That is Jonathan Palmer in the Tyrrell, the man who was leading the 3.5-litre category out of the San Marino Grand Prix. That means to say, of course, that Streff moves into the lead in the 3.5-litre category. Boutsen's car, incidentally, was pushed into the pit, so it looks as though the Benetton is in trouble as up the hill goes Alboreto, and into the pits comes Fabi. Teo Fabi is into the pits in the Benetton. There he is, and out of the race in the Benetton. And Derek Warwick is doing well. He is up into 5th position, albeit 1 lap adrift. Mansell leading on lap 55 out of 59. Senna is 19 seconds behind, so he's gaining, but it's undoubtedly because Mansell is easing up rather than that Senna is gaining through extra speed. Alboreto is 3rd, Johansson is 4th, Warwick is 5th, Patrese is 6th, and Brundle is in 7th place.
And looking like he's going to move up into the points because Patrese is only limping round, his car stricken, and that is the arrows. I hope that's not Warwick.
There is the race leader, very soon to be starting his last lap, his 59th lap, which is all that separates him between victory in his 8th Grand Prix, and I'm sorry, desperately sorry to tell you that it was Derek Warwick retiring on lap 57 from that point-scoring position. What bitter tragedy. Things do not seem to be going well for Derek, and Martin Brundle, as a result of that, with at least we have the consolation as Nigel Mansell starts his last lap of knowing that an Englishman in 5th place has at least been replaced by another Englishman, Martin Brundle, in the Zach Speed, and this will be the first World Championship point that Zach Speed have ever scored.
Yes, as Mansell goes steadily round, he's had a magnificent drive, done everything right, really, but of course the only 2 people who could really have challenged him were, well, Piquet didn't even start the race. There's a little drop of rain coming down now, but probably not enough to trouble anybody at this stage in the race. But Nelson Piquet, of course, that bad accident on Friday, unable to drive today, and then Alain Prost, who was certainly giving Nigel a run for his money, going out on lap 15. After that, it's been pretty plain sailing, if you can ever call driving a Grand Prix car that. But he's controlled the race very well from the front, obviously used his boost quite a lot up and down. We could see that in the lap times, but always being able to cover any move from behind and never really under threat. Tremendous drive by Mansell.
Yes, Nigel Mansell almost home to win brilliantly his 8th Grand Prix, and in the process to take the lead in the 1987 World Championship far earlier than he did in 1986 when it was about halfway through the season. He comes now down into the Variante Bassa, into the Traguardo. He can see the checkered flag. Nigel Mansell, Williams Honda, crosses the line and takes the checkered flag to win the San Marino Grand Prix. Now we wait for Ayrton Senna to come through as the marshals wave their flags of congratulations at the Englishman. What a wonderful race Mansell's driven. Here is Ayrton Senna coming home in second place to score his first World Championship points of 1987. Goes across the line very slowly. He is running out of fuel. Senna's just made it though. The Ferrari finishes in third place. And so, Nigel Mansell has done it. Victory at San Marino, his 8th in his career, and I'm sure a lot more to come. With, in second place, Ayrton Senna, the highest place that the active suspension Lotus Honda has achieved, and there's more to come there. Third, Michele Alboreto in the Ferrari. Fourth, Stefan Johansson in the McLaren tag. A magnificent step for Martin Brundle, first World Championship points for Zach Speed. And in sixth position, Satoru Nakajima in the second Lotus Honda. In the World Championship, Nigel Mansell now leads with 10 points from Alain Prost. In third position, Stefan Johansson, with fourth equal, Ayrton Senna and Nelson Piquet. In sixth place, Michele Alboreto. And in the Constructors' Championship, a really interesting situation. The lead is shared by McLaren and Williams with 16 points each, and behind them, each on 7 points, Ferrari and Lotus.
It wasn't easy because, as you probably saw on television in the beginning, one of the back markers almost took me out of the race, and then Alain Prost. I had a wheel weight come off the tyres, which put it out of balance, and I had to pit early in the race. And then it was just a question of pushing as hard as I could.
What about fuel consumption? Were you watching the gauge very carefully?
Yeah, I've started to learn how to play a piano, because up and down, but I'm very pleased. We've got a good result, and it's a great result for the team.
And Frank Williams was your team engineer?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the whole team's together again, and they've done a fantastic job for me today, and I thank them very much.
Martin, you had to make a big decision to leave Tyrrell after a long time and go to the German Zach Speed team, and you've got your World Championship points for them. They must be delighted too.
I hope so. I haven't really had a chance since the BBC dragged me off to go and speak to them, but always delighted to speak to you, of course, Murray. But yeah, I mean, we said at the beginning of the year if we could get some points, that could be our realistic target, and it's happened maybe earlier than I expected, but we'll have to see how it goes from here. We've got a lot of work to do on the car to make it competitive yet, though.
But much better than the old one.
Yeah, it's a good starting point to get it set up.
It was a truly exciting San Marino Grand Prix, and now we go to Belgium, to Spa, on May the 17th for round 3. Do join us on Grand Prix and watch it for yourselves.